I just had my first 10K month working online, and honestly, it still feels surreal to say it. Not because it happened overnight, not because I got a huge following or some flashy system, but because I was willing to start with absolutely nothing and keep going even when it felt like nothing was working. So if you're in your 40s and 50s and you've ever found yourself thinking, it's too late for me, I'm not techy enough, I could never be like those people online, I absolutely hear you, because that was exactly me too. But what I've learned over the last 18 months is this: you don't have to become someone you're not. You don't have to dance on camera or shout from the rooftops. You can build something real and really successful by being fully, unapologetically yourself. And in this video, I want to share the truth behind how I got here. Not a shiny how-to, but the real journey, the doubts, the mindset shifts, the moments I almost gave up, and what changed everything. So whether you're just starting out or you're deep in the messy middle, I hope this feels like a breath of fresh air, because this path, it is possible, and you can walk it as you, not some version of who you think you're supposed to be. And if you're in that place right now where it feels like a bit of a mess, I want you to stick around, because what feels like the end might just be the start of something better than you imagined. But it wasn't always like this. You don't just wake up one day and leave a 25-year career. It builds quietly over time. And for me, it started in my 40s. The work culture began to shift. There were restructures, pension changes, toxic leadership coming in. People I'd worked alongside for years were burning out or leaving. And I was trying so hard to hold it all together. But at the same time, life outside of work was changing too. Our parents were getting older. They needed us more than ever. And my priorities began to shift without me even realizing it at first. What used to feel important, things like recognition at work, my job title, started to feel small next to the quiet pull of family, of health, of time. When I hit my 50s, that pull turned into something louder, something I couldn't ignore anymore. And the moment that everything changed was the day that I asked my boss for some flexibility in my hours. Just a temporary measure to help care for my dad. But my boss looked at me and said he didn't believe that my dad was as ill as I said he was. And something in me snapped. After 25 years of loyalty, of mentoring others, going the extra mile, putting work first, that one sentence shattered everything. And I stood up, I walked out, and I knew in my bones I was never going back. And in that moment, it didn't feel empowering particularly. It felt like grief, like walking away from something I'd spent my whole life building. And it was scary. But for a moment, underneath the fear, there was also a feeling of relief. And knowing that I could finally build something that worked for me, not the other way around. And although in the moment it felt like the end of everything, walking away from that 25-year career was only the beginning. Once the dust had settled, I had to figure out what next. The first few weeks after leaving my job were quiet. There was no alarm clock, no long commute, no one telling me where to be. And in a strange way, that silence was louder than I expected. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table one morning, tea in my hand, everyone else out the door, and I just was thinking, now what? I knew I couldn't go back to a traditional job. I couldn't hand my time over again to another boss. But I also didn't know what the alternative was. So I did what all of us do. I went to Google and typed in how to make money from home, online income with flexibility, work that fits around my life. And that search led me down a complete rabbit hole. YouTube videos, TikToks, stories of people building real income online, and not just 20-somethings with a ring light and some fancy dance moves. Real people like me, women in their 40s and 50s, parents, carers, people who wanted more freedom and less stress. And I thought, could I actually do something like this? And that was the beginning of something that I didn't fully understand at that time. But deep down, I had this quiet knowing I needed to keep looking. The answer was out there. I just hadn't found it yet. And that's when I discovered what I'm doing now. I didn't have a sudden aha moment where everything clicked into place. It was more like a series of breadcrumbs, if you like, a video here, a post there. And then I found a free training and I watched it. And then I watched it again. And then I watched it again. And something about it just made sense. It wasn't promising fast money or some flashy lifestyle. It was showing how everyday people were actually doing this and achieving real-time freedom. So I got on the mentor's email list, watched more videos, took more notes. And I remember thinking, I still don't fully get this, but it does feel different. It feels right. So it took me a while to make a decision. I overthought it a lot, talked myself into it, out of it. What if it failed? What if it's just another dead end? But deep down, I knew that what I was really afraid of was, did I believe in myself? Did I trust myself? Eventually, I took a deep breath and I did it. I invested in the blueprint. And the moment I did, everything shifted. That heavy, anxious weight I'd been carrying, that pressure of indecision, it totally lifted. And what replaced it was excitement and newfound energy, possibility. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was moving forward towards something, not just moving away from what I didn't want. It gave me the blueprint I've been searching for. And that was the moment I stopped watching and I started doing. And no, I didn't feel ready. And what I've learned since is you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to back yourself. Once I took that first step, I thought the momentum would follow really quickly. But the truth is, the beginning was really slow. I'd post a reel, write a caption, overthink it. Sometimes I'd delete it before I even hit publish. Other days I'd post and I'd sit like refreshing my phone, waiting for something to happen. And most of the time, nothing did. And I kept thinking, what am I doing wrong? I'm showing up. Why isn't this working? But then I had this realization that changed everything. What I was learning wasn't about trying to sell something. It was about learning the art of attraction marketing. And attraction marketing means you don't have to chase people. It builds connection. It builds trust. It's quiet, consistent, and honest. I realized I wasn't just learning how to post content. I was learning how to relate, how to tell the truth, how to show up as myself so that the right people could find me and say, finally, someone who gets it. It felt really counterintuitive at first, but I saw it happen when I focused on real connection. Engagement followed, then came the trust, and only then did people feel safe enough to join my email list, ask questions, and then take the next step. And that's when commissions started to flow in. Not because I was pushing, but because I was showing up with heart and attract my perfect audience. Most beginners, including me, think the goal is to sell, but what we're actually mastering is how to serve, how to be human in a digital world, and that takes time to learn. And here's the part no one talks about enough. I was stuck in an employee's mindset after decades of being told what to do, when to take a break, when I could go on holiday, even needing permission to take time off. I didn't realize how deep that conditioning had gone. So when I started this business, even with all the tools in front of me, I was still waiting to be told, if I was doing something right. I was waiting for, someone to say, you're allowed to do this now. But I had to realize this time it's different. There's no one coming to tell you what to do because you're the one in charge now. And honestly, that was hard at first because I wasn't used to making those sort of decisions. I wasn't used to backing myself. But that's what this journey has given me, the realization that it's up to me now. I decide what matters. I decide how to spend my time. And the blueprint I've followed helped me stop wasting hours on all the wrong things and focus on what actually moves the needle. And that's when I started to master the 2 to 3 hour workday, not in theory, but in real life. Now, every morning I can sit down with a clear focus, no scrolling, no busy work, no guessing what to do next. I know exactly where my time's going because the blueprint I followed taught me how to focus on the right things. And in those 2 to 3 hours, I create content that connects. I check in with my audience to reply to messages. I answer questions. I build relationships. I write to my email list, not to sell, but to serve and to help. That's my work day now. And when it's done, I close my laptop and I go and live my life. No guilt, no pressure, no boss to ask, no boss watching the clock, just time that's mine. And slowly things began to shift. Not overnight with a big kind of moment or a viral post, but quietly over time. A few more people watched my videos. A few more joined my email list. The messages started coming in, real messages from real people. And every month the momentum started to build. 1,000, then 3,000, 5,000, then 7,000. And one day I opened my dashboard and I saw my first 10K month. I didn't jump up and down. I didn't even tell anyone right away. I just sat in silence for a moment and let it sink in. Because I remember how slow it felt at the beginning, and how hard I worked just to figure out what a funnel was, and how discouraged I felt when videos barely got 100 views. And how many times I thought, maybe this just isn't for me, but I kept going, not because it was easy, but because I was committed to mastering the skills. And I still am. That's why it feels easier now, not because I'm working harder, I'm not, but because I stuck with it long enough to get good at the skills. Now I know how to show up. I know what matters. I know how to speak to the person who needs me because I was her. That's what this business has built. Not luck, not trends, not working harder and hustling, just patience, consistency, and the decision to believe in something long enough for it to grow. And the best part is it no longer feels heavy. It feels light because I know this isn't a fluke. This is the life I've built, one step at a time. So what does this mean for you? So if you're still watching, maybe you're where I was not all that long ago. You're maybe in your 40s or 50s and you've given everything to your job. You've shown up, you've done the right thing, you've played by the rules, but deep down, you know something needs to change and you want more time, more flexibility. And honestly, you just want to live a simpler life without feeling guilty about it. And the thought of starting something new online feels big, maybe even impossible. And that's how I felt too. But I found a simple way to start, even as a complete beginner. And it's given me something that I never thought I'd have, true time freedom. And that's what I do now. And it's what I'll be sharing here. So if this video has resonated with you, leave a comment. Tell me where you are at right now on your journey. I genuinely would love to hear from you. And if you want to learn more, I do have a free community where you can ask more questions, explore your options, and figure out what the next step it is you need to take. I'll link to my free community in the description below this video. And if this video has helped you, hit subscribe because I'll be here every week sharing what I've learned and how you can build something that gives you your time, your energy, and your life back for people just like us. And I'll see you in the next video.